Southern Alberta and talking to Cathie Ugrin. So, want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Cathie Ugrin. I am here on Treaty 1 land, home of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. So I am one of the co-founders of the Textile and Fiber Artists of Manitoba, as well as the exhibit coordinator. And I have my own personal fiber art practice as well.
And is that what we see behind you as one of your works?
Yes, yes. Two of my works, actually.
Two of your works. Nice. So the Textile and Fiber Artists, you're one of the founding members, you said. So how long has this organization been going for?
So in 2017, our president, Krista Zegers, was really feeling the need that Manitoba needed to have a group of fiber artists. She lives out in the country, and she was finding she was feeling so isolated and that she didn't fit into like the traditional guilds or the modern quilters. And she just would not stop talking about it. And so anyone who got a sparkle in their eyes, she gathered them to her. And, you know, that's basically how it started. September 2017, 6 of us kind of sat down and thought about what we wanted, and we're at it. So,
nice.
You know, yeah, almost three years, yeah.
So your focus is more then on like obviously using textile work to make more like artwork. So that's where you didn't fit in with the quilters. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. We are fiber artists, and so the TFAM is kind of built on the foundation of 4 kind of pillars, if you want to call them that: education and workshops, exhibiting, networking, and promoting fiber as an art form. So that's kind of what we always try to do.
Nice, excellent. Yeah. And so you have an exhibition that's up on the Manitoba Arts Network website. So you want to talk a little bit about the exhibition overall?
So that was our inaugural exhibit. So when we were trying to think, well, what should we do? Our secretary at the time, Susan Selby, said, let's keep it small. Let's make it the size of a page, and let's make it a topic that everyone is comfortable and familiar with. So we decided Manitoba Moments was going to be it. And it's interesting to note that some people, that was their very first fiber art piece that they had ever done. They were traditional or whatever. And then there's other people that, you know, have taught and have been in all kinds of shows and whatnot. But it was a lot of fun to make. And everybody had their thing that they were familiar with. So it was easier to make it then kind of with that reference point.
Nice, nice. And then just tell me a little bit about the kind of materials that you use.
So we're open to anything that is fiber related. So there's people that use wool, there's felters, there's weavers, crochet, embroidery, embellishment, just anything that has anything to do with fiber. We started off mostly with sort of people using fabric and whatnot, but yeah, we're definitely kind of spreading our wings and learning from each other. So, you know, I had never used wool in anything before, and I ended up using wool as clouds in one of my pieces a little while ago. So yeah, anything fiber related.
And does it involve, like for some of them, like right from the start, like getting a fleece straight off of a sheep and getting it ready all, you know, all the way from there?
I don't know, but I know that really good wool is, you know, a coveted sort of a thing. Our felters are amazing. The work they do is absolutely stunning, and there's quite a few of them. So, you know, they must have their sources. They know all kinds of everything about the different wools and the different felting techniques and whatnot. Yeah, I'm amazed by it. I am not a felter, but it just blows my mind every time I see one of their pieces.
Nice. I've actually gotten into felting over the pandemic. It's been other people have learned how to make bread. I'm already a baker, so I was good. Yeah. But but I've just been using kits. So they're both the main one comes out of a place in Lunenburg.
Okay.
So they're like Canadian arts organizations or companies. So you get a little kit, so you get all the stuff. So I've been making little birds and animals, and it's
Nice.
very good during long, boring Zoom meetings because you get to stab something thousands of times.
That's right.
So when you're dealing with, especially things like stressful, information about budget cuts in Alberta, things like that. Yeah, or Jason Kenney talking about reinstating coal mines, stabbing something is very useful during that. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I've always liked felting, and then, started doing that. So
Yeah. Oh, it's just, we have actually 3 exhibits right now. So our third one is called River. And some of the pieces that those felters made on that sort of topic of river they're just unbelievable. They're unbelievable. They're just absolutely gorgeous.
I mean, felting can be pretty amazing. So in your case, then, is it more like you work like a quilter does, like where you work with existing fabric and you're sewing it?
Yeah, and I don't dye my own fabric. A lot of our members, they do dye their own fabric. I have a little bit too much in my, call it collection. My husband calls it a problem. But I would, if I can't be starting to dye a whole bunch of new stuff. And I love the fabric that I have, and I really enjoy working that way.
Yeah. So do you work with like fabric like that's just still in the bolts like straight up, or do you do things like taking ties apart and things like that?
Taking ties apart,
like using old ties or old like old clothes or
Not really. I have done that, but it's mostly like bolted fabric or donated fabric. I was the friend that sewed, so all the mums that wanted to get rid of their old stuff, they kind of filtered through me.
Right.
Which is nice.
Yeah. And yes, there is that line between hoarding or, having a supply of options. So yes, it really depends on whether you're the artist or the person who lives with the artist.
Exactly.
And I will confess I live with an artist and our basement is full of material for art making.
Okay.
So anyway, okay. And then, so in terms of on the work that's on the website, do you want to just tell us a little bit about the work that you have there?
So I have 2 pieces there now. I did sell one of my other pieces. So the first one is Northern Lights. I haven't actually been up to the north, but that is for sure a place that I want to go to. I've always been fascinated with it. I like winter, as odd as that is, and I like the things that I like about it are reflected in that piece. I love the pristine, the brisk, the cleanness of it, and I just love the Northern Lights. So I thought, okay, it's not really my Manitoba moment, but I want it to be my Manitoba moment. So, and usually my work is very abstract, so that was kind of like stepping out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed making it. And then the other piece is more abstract, and there's a story that goes with it. My mom was in a nursing home when she was dying. That's about 30 minutes away from where I live. And at that time, a local singer-songwriter named Rain Hamilton had released a CD called Night Sky. And I was listening to that back and forth every day, and it was just so healing to me. I felt as though she had actually written that CD for me. So when it came time to do this, I knew I wanted to do a sky piece. In my opinion, the prairie sky is like the West Coast mountains, it's our thing. And I wanted it to be a night sky. So that's why I selected those batiks with those little yellow spots in them. And then I actually took a stanza from the song Starlight. That was my favorite. And that's what I used as my artist statement. So
that's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And have you been part of the digital or the swap or exchange? I can't remember what it's called. So
yes, I was the person, Amy Bishop and myself were in January. And that was an absolutely amazing experience because one, I mean, she's so talented. I was so thrilled to be partnered with her, and it really turned my pandemic creativity around, because up till then I had been making lots of masks. I'm now the COVID babysitter. I would start things and just not finish, which is not like me. It's not that I wasn't motivated, but I was just, you know. And then when I got selected for that, it was just amazing. It was amazing. Yeah, I just can't say enough about Man for like giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, in terms of COVID, um, watching things online or over video or whatever, the digital exchange that the Manitoba Arts Council did is one of my favorite things. I watched, the first one I saw was Sarah Fuller in Leaf Rapids, and
Okay.
yeah, and just, and the same thing, that it just really kind of sparked and energized one, and took advantage of the strengths of this bizarre, stuck at home, can't go out, can't travel. But on the other hand, we're able to make these exchanges. So that part's really, really nice. Well, I might as well segue into that one that you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what's it been like being an artist during the COVID-19 pandemic?
So as far as myself personally, like I said, I got busy with other things. And like I said, I always have kind of 3 projects on the go, but I finish them. And I probably have 7 things right now that it's just like, wow. So it wasn't that I was feeling that bad being isolated. I'm an introvert. It just was like, it's kind of what I've been like working for my whole life. But it was all that other stuff that came along with it. And then as far as the executive of TFAM, we knew right from the get-go that we had to support our members. So we decided to have TFAM Tuesdays every 2 weeks, Zoom meetings, which actually a lot of people really liked, like our members in Dauphin and all over the place that just can't come down. And at first, all we did was talk about what we were doing and how we were reacting. And it was really a support group. And then as we sort of, went through it and the months went by, we decided, hey, why don't we maybe have a half-hour presentation? Or like, why don't we do a show and share today? And like that kind of thing. So it kind of segued to whatever it was that we needed it to be. And then we sort of took the summer off. We went to only once a month. And that's where we are now. And for me, I just really needed that every 2 weeks just to see how people were doing. And I think the people that were unable to do anything, it was really important to them because they just found they couldn't, they just didn't have anything there. So yeah, and all of our people from away, they do not want us to change this format. They want us to stay as Zoom. And it's great. At our Christmas sort of party, I think we had 50 people or whatever, So, and we've gotten to know each other, the members that live outside of the city, way better. We decided also to open our doors to Canada versus just Manitoba. So we have people from BC, Saskatchewan, and Ontario now, which is also awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the ability to really connect with like-minded people is good. And it's true. I mean, a couple of research groups that I'm involved with, it's that some of the grad students, live somewhere else, don't live in Lethbridge. And it feels like they haven't gone away when you're meeting over the video conferencing. So, and I guess maybe that kind of like ties into a question, but is that something that will carry over? Or is there anything else that will carry over for the after times from the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely the Zoom meetings, I think. And we are just so fortunate right now. Like you did ask a question in the outline you sent me about sort of what kind of things I've been following and all that. Well, our workshop person, Teresa Shaw, is amazing. And we are having workshops with an Australian woman in March, and like all these fantastic opportunities that honestly, as a new group, we probably wouldn't be able to afford, never mind, you know, all the logistical stuff and all that. So in that respect, it's been just fabulous. But we really do miss sort of being with each other too. But we might just kind of keep this up a little bit, you know, with these workshops and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the video format is really good for things like, yeah, workshops, presentations,
Yeah,
things like that, and then you still want to have the in person for
absolutely. Yeah.
more kind of just for that nicer kind of contact and actually getting to know people and things like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Usually what we do, we always have our AGM in October, and it's there that we announce our next year's exhibit. And the exhibits are always kind of due at the end of May, and the commitment to be in the exhibit are always due at the end of April. So we decided we're going to have like a studio workshop in February because nobody wants to do anything else in February. So usually we would have just gone to a library and had a bunch of demos and just start sort of brainstorming. So this February, on February the 20th, we're going to have our first kind of like laptop open online studio, but it'll probably be great.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that'll be nice. It'll be nice to see what comes out of it.
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So then one of the questions is the whole, you know, art craft thing, which I just don't understand why there's a difference. And because it's just, well, part of it, I guess, historically is it's about demeaning work that women do. But I mean, it seems like, so does your group ever talk about the kind of art craft things, or you get into conversations with people who are asking you, like, is it art? Is it craft? What do you think about this?
So I think we fit both because, you know, I got some definitions here. Art is described as an unstructured and open-ended form of work that expresses emotions, feelings, and vision. Craft denotes a form of work involving the creation of physical objects by the use of hands and brain. Art relies on artistic merit, whereas craft is based on learned skills and technique. So there you go. We are both of them. We do a lot of work with our Manitoba Craft Council, who just calls it fine craft, you know, like, and the artists and the work that they show and exhibit and all that, it's amazing. And, you know, and I kind of am happy to be doing things that have a historical sort of a reference that's been looked at as women's work, like all of that, you know, bring it on. That's exactly what we're doing. And yeah, we all think it's art. There you go.
Yeah, well, and I agree.
Yeah, that's the end.
Yeah, and then is there just, you know, the whole kind of thing of, you know, are there exhibitions that you've seen that have inspired you, or artists that you have in particular whose work you really like to have seen or have seen and has had a big influence or anything like that?
There's an amazing artist named Corinne Zerb. She lives in Nanaimo. She's from, I think, Cypress River, Manitoba, around Holland, Manitoba. She does amazing landscapes. I am not a landscape sort of person. I prefer abstracts. And her mom was still living in Cypress Hills for quite a while. And Corinne would come every year and she would teach us all her fancy little tricks and her gorgeous trees. And she's so generous as an artist, so skilled. Yeah, I have like just a great deal of respect from her, and I've learned so much from her. I also just absolutely love Amanda Mccavor's work. She does all thread work, so it's very, very delicate. She does huge blossoms, enormous installations. I took a class from her at Quilt Canada, and then actually TFAM had her as a workshop person in November. And Lyric Kennard has started this Global Quilt Connection, where she's bringing in all these people that want to teach, and, is a really, really great support. And the last people I'm going to mention are, I think their names are Lori and Lisa Lubismeyer, who are Washington artists. Their landscapes are kind of abstract, kind of dreamy. They're just unbelievable. When I need to be inspired, I go to their website. I've got tons of their stuff on Pinterest, and it really does inspire me and gets me excited and all that. And I love any kind of abstract art.
So yeah, so obviously you've got quite a few that are like your go-tos for looking at and enjoying. And and what do you hope when people see your work? What do you hope that they experience?
I feel like I really work from an emotional point of view. It's kind of like, this is my voice, and what I make is what I live. So I hope that it touches something in them, sort of from that point of view.
Yeah. And sorry, I had my own questions and now I've lost my spot in where I was. Oh, I know. Okay, I think I didn't ask you this question. So how did you become an artist?
Okay, so I was a complete non-sewer, but I was always very artistic, and I have this crazy relationship with color ever since I was a little kid. So I always wanted to be doing stuff with color. I had my kids pretty early, and I was a nurse, so I would be doing cross stitch just to give myself something to do while they were growing up. And I worked nights. I'd be like doing the cross stitch once the breaks came. But my colleagues were pulling out these beautiful pieces of fabric and putting them together by hand. And I thought, well, that's more like it. How can it be hard? All you're doing is cutting up fabric and then just sewing it back together again. So, I brashly walked into the quilt store. I bought a book, bought fabric, not knowing at all what I was doing. But, I started, and my mom owned a sewing machine shop, and she just said, take an 8-week course, like, do yourself a favor, take an 8-week course so you kind of, know the right way to do things. And I did. But I knew even then, this is what I was created for. I love this. I love everything about it, the tactile nature, the color. And I think that, like, not being all bent out of shape with the rules and everything from before is a blessing to me, because now I'll try something new, and if it doesn't work out, oh well. I don't feel like a failure as a person or whatever. As I'm getting better, I mean, I want to do a good job, and I'm, all that, but it's just a little bit different. So, and I probably do everything the hard way, but I'd rather just figure it out myself. And I just love what I'm doing. I absolutely love what I'm doing.
Now, that's really cool that you come at it from the point of view of color. I mean, as you can tell, I quite like colors myself, but but yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting way to come at it, because I would think that the kind of assumption would be, because that's what's attached to craft, is the idea that it's practical. So, that ultimately you can make a quilt that keeps you warm, or, or my mug, you can make a mug and you can drink your tea out of it. But so you really come at it. I mean, this ties in with the fact that you're interested in it being abstract, because you're coming at it from just the color and the kind of pattern and the texture.
Yeah, it's absolutely art first. If it happens to be a blanket or whatever, that's great. It's always art first for me. And I pay attention to my backs. My backs, to me, are also part of the whole piece. It's like, doing your hair and doing nothing with the back, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, and then so that you didn't have the sewing background, again, one would assume there might be kind of like a practical aspect, like so making clothes, things like that. But you don't do that. You just make the fiber art. And though with the pandemic, you said you were making masks at the start.
I did, yeah.
So I think anybody who has any sewing ability was making masks at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah, but I didn't know how to make a mask. Like, I learned how to make a mask. Yeah, I made a lot of masks. I've made over 750 masks. So that's the one practical thing. I always, my husband comes at me with the hemming and all that, just like, nope, don't do anything practical. Like, nope. But yeah, the masks, and I learned, I mean, I'd never ever used elastic before, or, any of that kind of stuff. But no, I don't. And it's too bad. I look at my fabric that I have and I think, oh, I could make the best clothes. Does not interest me. Like, not at all. And I get frustrated even making curtains. It's like, oh, I have to pretend that I'm making fabric art.
It's true, like you said about the rules, right? Like if you're making clothes and it has to fit and it has to, all these things, you can't just kind of like go with the color. So, though I think it would be pretty cool if you did make clothes, because I think they'd be pretty interesting.
Well, I've thought, this is what I've thought is, I mean, you can go out to thrift stores and buy all kinds of stuff, but I thought, what would be cool is I could make like a panel, because I love making like sort of like abstract landscapes, like what you see behind me, cutting up the like coat or the whatever, and then just inserting a panel into that. That I would be totally, jazzed up to do that. But yeah, as far as actually making the long vest, like,
no. Yeah, I totally can understand that. The idea of being like stuck, having to make it to, fit a pattern and fit a size and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really wonderful. It's been great talking to you, and I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation.
Can I just say thank you so much to MAN? They've been such a great support and offered us so many opportunities. They go over and beyond, and the online gallery is great. Check it out. Yeah, I just really, really want to give them a nod of thanks.
Yeah, and I also am very thankful because this has been fun. I've got to interview 3 different Manitoba artists. One I knew before, but the other two I haven't met, and it's been nice to have this conversation.
Yeah, very nice.